Welcome back, heroes. After the fall of Hyrule and the long struggle against the Demon King, our journey turns inward, away from kingdoms and battles, and toward a quieter, stranger kind of legend. Stranded on the shores of a mysterious island, a lone hero will discover that not every world is meant to be saved, and not every victory comes without loss. This is a story about memory, illusion, and the cost of awakening from a beautiful dream. Join me as we explore Link's Awakening, the dream of the windfish. The Demon King was gone. Peace returned to Hyrule. But legends never end where victory begins. After sealing Ganon and restoring the Triforce, the hero, weary but restless, left the kingdom behind. He set sail on a small ship, seeking new lands and hidden truths beyond the horizon. For days, the scene was calm. But destiny, as ever, had other plans. One night, a storm rose from nothing. A storm with no wind, no lightning, only endless waves. Thunder roared like laughter. The sky cracked open. Link fought to keep the mass upright, but the ocean swallowed him whole. When he awoke, he was on a shore of golden sand, his sword nowhere to be found. The sun was warm, the waves were calm, and above him, seagulls circled beneath a bright blue sky. He was alive, but he was no longer in Hyrule. He was found by a girl named Marin, who took him to her home in a peaceful village. She told him he had washed ashore on Koholint Island, a paradise surrounded by endless sea. The people were kind, the air smelled of salt and flowers, and music filled the days. For a moment, it seemed like heaven. But something was off. When Link asked about other lands, no one could answer. When he asked what lay beyond the sea, the villagers smiled and changed the subject. And then there was the egg, a massive white egg resting atop the highest mountain, large enough to hold a temple inside. Marin told him it housed the windfish, a great being said to dream the island into existence. The legend said, as long as the windfish sleeps, Koholint shall exist. But if it were to awaken, everything would change. As Link explored, he was visited by an owl, ancient, wise, and strangely familiar. The owl spoke not as a messenger, but as a guardian of truth. The windfish sleeps. You are the one who must awaken him. But know this, what you awaken may not be what you expect. Link was told of the 8 instruments of the sirens, sacred relics hidden across the island. When played together, they would awaken the windfish from its slumber. And so the hero began his journey, not across kingdoms or realms, but within a world that felt too perfect to be real. He fought monsters that appeared without cause, found dungeons shaped like memories, and met faces that felt, familiar. A woman who resembled a princess, a merchant with the greed of a king, an owl who spoke like a sage. The island wasn't just a place, it was a mirror. The deeper Link journeyed, the more the island began to change. The seas grew darker. The smiles of the villagers faded into unease. Creatures whispered his name as if they had known him forever. At the heart of each dungeon lay nightmares, entities that called themselves the guardian of the windfish's sleep. When he struck them down, they didn't scream. They pleaded, You fool, if you wake him, we will all disappear. Each victory left Link shaken. Why would evil fear its own destruction? Why did every defeated monster weep, not in pain, but in sorrow? The owl warned him not to falter. The truth sleeps atop the mountain. Do not waver, hero. You are close to awakening. But in his dreams, Link began to see flashes of another world, of Zelda, of Hyrule, of a boy pulling a sword out of a pedestal. The boundary between reality and memory began to blur. He was starting to remember who he was, and to question where he was. Marin, unlike anyone else on the island, she loved to sing. Her voice carried through the fields like sunlight. Link found peace in her presence, peace he had never known, not even after his greatest victories. She told him she dreamed of seeing the world beyond the sea, of flying away like a seagull, free and endless. But Link noticed something in her eyes, longing, and something deeper, fear. When he asked what would happen if the windfish awoke, she grew silent. Finally, she whispered, "Sometimes dreams are all we have, and sometimes we can't tell the difference anymore." That night, the sky turned crimson. The owl appeared once more. "You've gathered the instruments. The time has come to wake the dreamer. But know this, hero. To awaken the dreamer is to end the dream." Marin's song echoed through the night as Link climbed towards the mountain. Each note felt like a goodbye. At the mountain's peak, Link stood before the great egg. It pulsed faintly, like a heartbeat. He played the Ballad of the Windfish upon the 8 instruments, and the shell cracked like thunder. Inside was not a temple, but an abyss. A void filled with swirling light, fragments of memories, and whispers of his own past. And then the nightmare appeared. A being of smoke and shifting forms, wearing the faces of those he'd once fought. Ganon, Aghanim, the Shadow Beast, even his own reflection. You cannot wake him. You cannot end this dream, because this dream is you. The battle was not for survival. It was for acceptance. Link struck at illusions of his own fear, at the shadows of his own memories, until at last he stood alone before the windfish. A voice filled the air, vast, calm, divine. "I am the windfish. Long have I dreamed, and within that dream you found yourself. But the dream must end. Awaken, hero, and remember." As the windfish rose into the sky, light consumed everything. The island trembled. Marin reached for Link's hand and vanished. Her final words echoed through the wind. "Thank you for letting me see the world." Link awoke on the deck of his shattered ship, drifting under a quiet morning sun. The ocean was calm. The storm was gone. Only the cries of distant seagulls filled the air. He looked toward the horizon, and for just a moment saw the silhouette of a great bird soaring high above the waves. And he smiled. He understood now. The journey was never about escape. It was about remembrance, about understanding that even dreams, though fleeting, can leave behind truth. For the hero of Hyrule, courage was no longer just a weapon. It was the strength to awaken, to let go of paradise, and return to a world that still needed him. The windfish awoke, and the dream faded, but not before it changed the heart of the hero. Link's awakening was not a tale of conquest, but of introspection, of learning that even peace has a price, and that not all worlds are meant to last forever. Join me next time as we continue along the hero is defeated timeline into an age of despair and rediscovery, where bloodlines fade, gods grow silent, and the world itself must be reborn. In Episode 9, The Legend of Zelda, the Oracle Saga, Seasons and Ages of the Flame and Time.